I just got back from Phoenix Comicon this weekend. This is event started in 2002 in a little area of Phoenix called Ahwatukee, with about 403 attendees. This year they were expecting over 10,000 people in attendance, which is amazing. There's a quick shot of my wife. Everyone's just in costumes. You got these really detailed people just put so much money and time and effort in these costumes. Look at this chick in the fox. It's awesome. This guy had a custom-built Iron Man suit. There's a ton of people, gamers as well. You got Pac-Man, obviously, Mario, there's Zelda. You got Stormtroopers. Everyone's just a whole bunch of Star Wars fans, fellow Star Wars fans there as well. In Star Wars costume. Look at this chick with Queen Amidala. You had Jedis there, of course. Bounty hunters. Ton of them. The 501 Legion were actually there on site as well. If you don't know what the 501 Legion is, it's a group of Star Wars fans that have come together to create custom suits, and they give back to the charity, a lot of charities and stuff. So they were there in attendance, and they were in their get-up, and it was awesome to see. Check out this Jedi here. Look at the details. Just amazing. One of the really cool things I saw there was an R2-D2 that was a remote control lifelike, and it made sounds, and these guys had the remotes in the corner and controlling it, and it was really cool. They had a whole bunch of droids, and there's actually a group that they have that you can create R2 units, which is really neat. And they were there, of course. Here's the booth that they were there signing up people and kind of telling people how to build R2 units. Obviously, it takes a lot of money. But if you don't like Star Wars, not into Star Wars, it'd be like Ghostbusters. They had a group there called the Arizona Ghostbusters, and similar to the 501 Legion, they actually go out and do charity work here locally. They have actually a replica car, which is awesome to see, and it was very detailed. But that was the only car they had. The Dukes of Hazzards cars were there, replica cars were there. They had Knight Rider, which is an awesome show I used to love in the 80s. That was there as well. One of my favorite highlights of the show, of this event, was definitely the vendor fair. There's a quick shot of my brother. This vendor fair, they had a whole bunch of vendors there, a ton of people. If you like comics, obviously, this is the spot to go. They had comics from retro to modern day comics. They had a whole bunch of people signing autographs. Artists there were signing autographs, kind of introducing people to their comics. A ton of memorabilia guys, vendors with memorabilia. A ton of G.I. Joe, He-Man figures, both retro and old, which is awesome to see. And every vendor was a little bit different, but just a whole, and decently priced as well, which is really great to see. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Todd McFarlane, actually creator Spawn, lives here in Phoenix locally. He's from Canada originally, but he was one of the keynote speakers at this event, and he had a booth. A whole bunch of artists putting together art. These were cool because they're autographed by the Star Trek crew, which was really neat to see. One of the things I like to see at the vendors things were the Star Wars items they had. Those were some retro, vintage Star Wars figures, along with some Carter ones they had. And there's several booths with some vintage stuff, but surprisingly there wasn't as much as I'd hoped to see. But there's still quite a good share of them, and all at a pretty decent price. These were really rare items. These are the droids and Ewok figures, all in cards, which is pretty rare to see. And some of these figures were autographed as well. At the below, you'll see a couple of them weren't in the best of shape, but they're still autographed, and that was neat. So if you like Star Wars items or just memorabilia in general, this is definitely a spot to go. They had it laid out really nicely, and the prices were right. They had some really rare items, and most items were in cards on the backs, but they do have some loose figures as well in bins that you can purchase for a decent price. I think vintage figures were selling for about $2 a piece for vintage Star Wars stuff loose, which is not bad. This is one last booth I saw that had a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff on display, which is excellent to see. There's just vintage ones. They also had gaming as well, so if you have video games, more into gaming than you are into collecting toys, this is a great place to see. They had Playing Trade was here. This is a booth they had, and they were playing retro games, and they had really rare games for sale. And they even had an area where you could play video games, and they had tournaments. They hosted tournaments, and it was awesome. They were playing Street Fighter 4, Rock Band, different games like that, and tournaments and prizes and stuff. Here I am playing Street Fighter 4, getting my ass kicked. This one, I think I'm winning, beating this guy, but this is a different fighting game. They had a main cabinet, which is cool. They had about 300 games in one, so we were busy playing that for a while. But not only video games, they had actually tabletop games as well. So if you're more into D&D and Magic, they had an area for that. They had a Star Wars role-playing game they were playing, which was really neat. A ton of people in this area. This was a new Dungeons and Dragons game that people were just really getting into for a while. One thing that was cool, they had a whole bunch of actors there signing autographs and guest stars. This is John Snyder from Smallville. Dukes of Hazzard was there. Will Wheaton was there signing autographs. He's from Next Generation, Big Bang Theory most recently, and he has a huge blog online. Really down-to-earth guy. Lou Ferrigno was there, best known for his playing Hulk back in the show, back in the day. Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek Next Generation was there, along with LeVar Burton, who played Geordi LaForge. Big Star Trek fan. It was awesome to see them and get to talk to them and have them sign autographs. Very down to earth. They also had a panel, Star Trek Next Generation Reunited panel, where they had Will Wheaton join them as well, and they answered a little Q&A area. It was hilarious. Definitely down to earth guys. This was Ray Parks, who played Darth Maul. He's there signing one of my items I brought from the site. This is Daniel Logan, who played Boba Fett in episode 2. He was there signing. And finally, Will Wheaton did Will Wheaton Rock Band that night, and he essentially could play rock band with Will Wheaton. And this particular song, he was about to sing Lady Gaga, Poker Face. When due to copyright, I can't replay it, but it's just hilarious. You had to be there to see it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Till next time.